1310 KXAM.
That's right. We're going to give you a little bit of sexual healing as well. We've got you covered from head to toe. We're visiting with David Berger. And Melania, you had an amazing point that you'd like to stress again to our audience just tuning in about connecting the physical, emotional body.
Actually, it's Melania, right?
Oh, thank you
I'm
so
sorry,
much
did I
for
say
the
that wrong?
clarification. I appreciate
Melania.
Michelle has rented lips today.
Yes, I do.
that. Okay.
Lack of sleep.
I'd like to clarify a little bit about the circumventing of the mental body. The main reason is because most people that come to David in general are there because they've tried everything else and nothing has worked, and it just makes sense. So they're in the right place at the right time. Humans in general have the blessing of intellectualizing everything. So what he does is get
Or
you...
curse.
Right. So what he does is get you out of your brain and into your body.
Yeah, that's the only thing that gets me out of my body, as you were mentioning, or into it, is the pain. Because
It's not necessarily pain, but what happens is pain is the body's way of saying, yo, pay attention, wake up. You're not paying attention to the emotional aspect. And if you look at feelings, okay, feelings have waves. And what happens is the emotional body, if those waves are not released, they bind up. And neuromuscular therapy is a complete and total example of that, because trigger point therapy are actually acupuncture points, and each one of these points is on a specific part of the meridian, like neck and shoulders. Neck and shoulders could deal with gallbladder and large intestine. Okay, you asked earlier about headaches. Why? Well, you have at the top of the shoulders 2 major descending gallbladder points, and you have I don't know how many gallbladder points on the head.
And David, for our listeners, will you let them know what feelings are usually represented by the gallbladder?
Yeah. Gallbladder generally, now a lot of these things, David is not a doctor, I need everyone to say that. Gallbladder deals with judgment. Judgment of others, judgment of self. But basically, judgment of others comes because you're judging yourself. You expect. So what that happens is you just turn that in and that's that palm on the forehead. Oh God, I should have done this. I should have done that.
Would have done this. Would have did that.
Yeah, could have.
So you're like emotional X-lax. You just clean it all out.
Well, you know what's so amazing is that
it's a great visual, isn't it? Yeah.
Is that even for people, I'm just going to bring it back to chiropractic because so many people are familiar with that. And again, Perfect Game is about finance to romance, metaphysical to mainstream. We want to be open to everything and everybody and keep your minds open for our listening audience. But, you know, people that don't believe in chiropractic, and I'm like, you drive a car, right? I mean, the minute your light comes on that says, you know, service or your engine light, I mean, my car, the last 100 miles kept notifying 86 miles to check up, 42 miles to check up, 6 miles to check up. You're 8 miles over check
and what
up.
happens if you don't? This is really a good analogy.
Mercedes calls you. I'm just kidding.
Well, what if you drive a Buick?
Yeah.
You're SOL.
Oh.
Okay. But what happens is that's a perfect analogy. Because what's happening, you're getting these warnings. You're getting these warnings. You're getting these warnings.
But we honor them in our cars. We don't honor them in our bodies.
Right. You get the warnings. But then the pain, people think, oh, this just happened. No, it kept giving you these messages.
Well, we're tuned out.
A perfect example is the frozen shoulder. People go for surgery, which is completely unnecessary in that particular context. If you look at that...
You mean like rotator cuff?
Yeah. If you look at that, I did not study acupuncture. I just have a working knowledge. Okay, if you look at that, this leads into the heart meridian, which goes right into under the armpit. If they were to work under the armpit, you wouldn't have to have surgery because that would free that muscle up.
Speaking of muscles and people probably hanging on their phone to their ear for too long, we've got Debbie from Scottsdale hanging on line 1. Debbie, welcome.
Hello, welcome.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
Then why are you calling if you're pretty good?
Because she wants to be fabulous.
Oh, okay.
I do want to be fabulous. 2 months ago, I haven't worked now for 3 months, and basically I felt dead asleep, like during a work day. I didn't know if I passed out or was sleeping.
What are you trying to escape?
probably that job, because now I haven't. They found out that I had valley fever, and so I'm going through that, and I'm trying to get that out of my body and move on. But it's been about 3 months, and so I'm working with Qigong, working with,
Okay, what are you
vitamins.
doing? Look at the time period before you contracted that.
Mm-hmm.
All right? 3 months to 3 years. Everything happens in like threes. So basically, just start with like, look at about 3.5 to 4 months before. What were you going through at that point that stressed you out so much that it compromised your immune system?
And he doesn't even need to hear the details. It's just
No,
something that
it's
you
ju-
go through in your head.
So, yeah, I don't even need to know like whether you broke up with your boyfriend or your husband left you or your dog ran away with a poodle. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So what happened at that time period?
I was traveling, and I was really, really having a good time, and then we had to quit our traveling and go back to the real world.
So there you go. It was the depression. You were depressed because it had to stop. Now, feel that in your body. Where do you feel it?
Feel it all over in the joints.
Okay. And where does the valley fever attack or settle in?
Your joints.
Oh, gee, surprise. Now, that also deals with liver. Liver deals with connective tissue, tendon and ligament, and muscle. Okay? So the joints, okay, so how does that make you feel? There's 3 ways to feel about something. Happy, sad, and angry.
Angry.
Okay. Now I want you to breathe in through your nose, get in touch with as much of that anger as you can, and exhale through your mouth like you're fogging a mirror. Get as much heat and slow. Kind of like that. But feel the anger. Feel that bitterness on the side of your tongue.
Yep.
Okay? So now that's what you're going to do. That's actually more dealing with the gallbladder. You resented that you had to go back to work, so then you started judging yourself and you got angrier and angrier and angrier and angrier. So, and your body couldn't deal with that. So now breathe in and just kind of get as much heat out as you can. Now you should feel a difference in your lower neck and your upper neck. That should have just released a little bit.
Good, because that's where it's been hurting the last couple of days.
Okay. So that also goes back to what I was saying about the gallbladder. You have 2 major points that sit on either side of like the atlas. So that's what rocks that, and that's what rocks your world, so to speak. It stresses you out. Breathe in again. Feel the anger, the judgment, the palm to the forehead. Oh, God, how could I do this? And now, again.
Yep.
Now, breathe in, and then cough, feeling it. Again.
Okay.
Again.
It's important to really feel the anger on the way out.
And the resentment and the judgment.
I'll keep doing that.
Okay. Now,
exercises.
all right. Now, do you notice any difference in your body?
Not right now, but I think I have to go pay more attention to this. I'm driving in
hang
a car.
on. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I was coughing, officer, and I. All right, we'll give that a shot. But one of the biggest parts of healing is awareness. Now, when you made the connection, I understood that you had this sensation or this feeling in your stomach. Okay? The awareness is the part that starts healing. And when we become more aware of our physical bodies, then we'll be able to start releasing more.
Yeah, I know I'm on the healing side of it.
Good.
So
Good.
But this is good. Good exercises.
Good.
Anything else you can say, I'll do.
All right. Well, that's it for now. That's it in big, broad strokes.
All right. Thanks, David.
All right, dear.
Thanks,
Good luck.
Debbie.
Bye-bye.
We're going to cut to a quick break. Susan will take your call on the other side.